Today in this video, we discuss some confusion and stucking points when you are using JavaScript and also want to use JS best possible way. So let's start it. First of all, I want to discuss about forEach and map. Until few months ago, I always used map function and rarely use forEach function without realizing use cases. By the way, forEach and map both are array methods used for iterating through arrays, but they differ in their behavior, return values, and use cases. The forEach method is used to iterate over an array and perform a specific operation on each element. It executes a provided callback function once for each element in the array, but it does not return anything. Instead, it simply applies the provided function to each element and moves on. This makes forEach suitable for tasks where the goal is to perform side effects like logging, updating the DOM, or modifying external variables. Importantly, forEach does not modify the original array unless explicitly instructed and does not create a new array. The map method, on the other hand, is used to transform an array by applying a provided function to each element. Unlike forEach, map returns a new array containing the results of the callback function applied to each element. The original array remains unchanged. Because it returns a new array, map is particularly useful when you want to create a modified version of the original array without altering the original data. This makes map a key tool for functional programming practices. If you only need to iterate through an array for a side effect like console log or DOM updates, forEach is the more appropriate choice. However, if you are transforming the array into a new format or set of values, map is the better tool because it returns a new array. Understanding when to use each method is critical for writing clean, efficient, and functional JavaScript code. And now I talk about arrow functions and regular functions. They are two ways to define functions, but they have some differences between us. Without knowing, their characters sometimes create bugs on your code. Arrow functions, introduced in ES6, provide a concise way to write functions using the greater than or equal to syntax. They inherit this and arguments from their surrounding scope, making them ideal for short callbacks or functional programming. Regular functions defined using the function keyword have their own this and arguments context, making them suitable for object methods, constructors, or cases requiring their own this. Use arrow functions for cleaner, simpler code and regular functions when specific this behavior or flexibility is needed. In summary, use arrow functions for concise and context-inheriting code, especially in callbacks or functional programming. Regular functions when you need a unique this context, arguments object, or when creating constructors and object methods. And last, I want to talk about promises and async await. They are both used to handle asynchronous operations like API calls, timers, and file operations. They allow non-blocking execution, meaning the program continues running while waiting for the asynchronous task to complete. A promise is an object representing the eventual completion of an asynchronous operation. It has three states: pending, fulfilled, rejected. Promises use .then and .catch for chaining. When you need to execute multiple asynchronous operations in parallel and handle their results collectively. Use promises for simple, independent tasks or when handling multiple tasks in parallel. Async and await are syntax sugar built on top of promises, introduced in ES8. They make asynchronous code look more like synchronous code. Async await makes asynchronous code easier to read and write. The async keyword is used to declare a function that always returns a promise. Inside an async function, the await keyword is used to pause the execution until the promise is resolved or rejected. Both approaches work for data fetching. Your choice depends on the complexity of the task and personal preferences. So now I stop here. I see you to next one.